with that being said, check it out. It's Hugs and Kisses. And someday maybe I'll share it with you. But I sang Hugs and Kisses differently with a producer from Lebanon, Pennsylvania than I did in the studio. And coming up soon, I hope soon, I'll be able to try Hugs and Kisses a little bit different. I'm going to be trying some new things vocally in the coming year. I hope so. And things that I've been wanting to do for many years. And I will have, hopefully, the opportunity to share it with others who are interested. This is one of my favorite. Notice, I don't really think that I appear as girly as I would like in this video. That's when I came out of just recording Playfully Purple, and you can see how skinny I am. I lost a lot of weight. Extremely depressed, extremely angry. You know why? Because I wanted things to turn out differently. And they didn't. And I ended up somewhere that I would not have chose to live, and made the decision to stay and endure it and record my music now. It's one of my favorite pictures, and watching the video has touched my life in ways that nothing else in the world has ever touched me, and it helped me to see what others probably could not see, but is the potential. When I watch this video, I see potential for me. I see things that are not really there in the video. That could be. It's like a vision, not a dream. I realize that dreams can be the work of the demons, of the devil, and the devil's helpers to try to mislead people. Visions seem to be more of God revealing to you with your mind there's much more than just what you see. That could be, or is already there, you think. And this one was my favorite, too. For those to wait to stand. That's probably one of my favorite stages I ever stood on. And some people would say it's pretty beat. The stage, I mean. You know, it's been around since like 1939. So there's been a lot of performances on there. It's pretty wild, isn't it? And now Tracilyn, also known as VCAT, is on it. And I really love that bridge, and I love the park, and there was lots of goose and goose poop all over the place. What do we do about that? The ducks are entitled to life. The geese. I really like that stage. I like the lights on the side. Look at that. You see these lights? I bet you that looked really pretty over the years. I bet you there was a lot of good times, a lot of great music. I bet you there was a lot of things going on there, you know. A lot of fun. It's right by the river, which is very intimate, too. You know, if you love being in nature, it's really nice. Where did all the times go? You think there's a lot of river games down there? Festivals? Well, I heard great music. What do you do with something like that now, when you realize that it's falling apart? Do you let it fall apart? Do you repair it? I don't know. I'm just curious. But I love to see stuff like that. I'm not saying I necessarily want to play on it or not. You know, who knows? I loved the video. I made 2 videos on it. It's very meaningful to me. That's my favorite video. One of them is that. And it's because of the stage. It's very real to my personality. And anyway, so what I did is, as you can see, I have photographs of myself all over my apartment. And I said the other day, that is kind of like my fence around my kingdom. My kingdom is in here. It's my entrance door into heaven. That's the way that I see it. I'm not saying it is. Don't believe me, but that's what I'm kind of feeling. If you're not careful, your eyes are here and you're looking out all the time and you're listening to sounds coming in. You're smelling what's out there. Huh? Way out there. Maybe something close to you? Food? Is it food? Something in the oven? But guess what? What about the person in the mirror? What about that person? And you start looking around other people and you wonder, why aren't I more like that? Why aren't I more like them? Why aren't I around or doing more things similar to others? Or why am I living in certain cities? Why don't I have a family like some people do? Why ain't I married yet? Can I get pregnant? This way. I don't want to be. I'm just saying. Now, here's the thing. Check this out. And you will go through your life, and for many reasons, maybe you're being attacked psychologically by direct communications of someone else, somebody who's very opposite of life that wants to destroy you or keep you oppressed, depressed, and maybe you never smile, and you're never happy or rarely happy. Maybe you say you're happy, but inside you don't feel like that. Until one day, you start trying to make things right. This is one of my new favorite pictures. Look at this smile. I never smiled like that throughout my life. And by the way, I got finished watching Joel Osteen and Joyce Meyers. This is 2012. 2012, I was through. I'm done. Okay, I'm done reading books. I'm done watching ministries. I'm done listening. I almost died in Las Vegas. I almost became homeless. Completely. I was homeless, but I almost literally became homeless. And I went back to Heber Heights and I asked the owner of the house. I told them that I don't know what's going on. I need time to figure things out. And this is when I figured out, when you surrender to the truth within yourself, it will be magnified and obvious that there are other people who are watching you from around the world and beyond on a regular basis. And they are also in your head and can see through your eyes. When you go to the bathroom, they can feel the same things you feel. They can smell what you smell. It's joint unity of other minds, most likely. It was the first time that I've seen a photograph. And this is somebody who has dated many beautiful, what the world would call girls. I would have never thought that that person in that picture would ever consider dating me. I would have never even approached somebody like that. I think that when I look at a lot of my pictures, throughout my life, I would have never approached somebody that looked like that. Chances are because I didn't have it right with God and I didn't have it right with myself. And anyway, I was lost. I don't want to say anyway, maybe not the best that I could. How's that? Obviously, I was still praying. God is good, God is great. Thank you for our good, amen. Now I lay me down to sleep. Pray the Lord my soul to keep. I was still praying. I was still trying to talk to God. Are you real? God shows me what is real every day. And there's days that I walk around my apartment and I think to myself, what? Around people. This was revealed to me when I started investing my time dominantly by myself. All of this. Who's holding the camera for me? This one, somebody was holding the camera for me, right? Of course she was. Who was holding the camera for me there? The majority of these pictures, the majority of the videos. Who's holding the camera? Right here. Mr. or Mrs. Tripod is holding it for me. Thank you, China, for timers on cameras. Ah, very helpful. Hit the timer, run back, pose, smile. And despite what other people think, it's one of my favorite photo shoots that I've done by myself at Heber Heights in 2012. since I was right around 4 or 5, maybe before that, maybe 6. I always wanted to wear a cat outfit, and I always wanted to wear a cheerleading outfit, and despite what some people may think, it wasn't necessarily just for, like, making a joke. Like, it was something that was more serious inside of me. Like, I really wanted to do it. And I would have to say that I was most likely scared. Very scared. Why? Somebody with a penis should dress differently. How's that? Expectations. I remember there was somebody, right, who won't say, who sang a song that you got great expectation. You got great expectation. Yeah, I don't know the rest of the words. But you know, a lot of times when I listen to music, it wasn't the words always. Maybe those words, maybe what it was obvious for me to hear, to make out, but it was more melody, the tone, and what it did to my brain. And that song was one of my favorite by the person at least perceived as singing it. And throughout my earlier childhood, I used to listen to that. Okay? And I don't remember which album it was on specifically and what part of my childhood it was. When I say earlier, I mean I'm still a child. So whenever I say earlier, I mean prior from now. It could be at any point from 1972 up to now. Sometimes I'll say before I was 6, because I don't believe in some of the things that I was taught when it comes to age. I'm pretty much convinced, and God has shown me, it's not as much about age and numbers as it is about what you're thinking and the dominant focus that you're holding firm in your belief system. What do you believe? And that's how a lot of this occurred for me. Now, it might not be impressive to you, and it's not. If it's not, it's not meant for you. It's impressive to me because I know what I went through, and yes, what I looked like. And I would have never recognized this person. And if I were to put up a picture from when I was 15, you would say, when I was 15, I look older than when I'm 40. You know what that is? God. Because I took time to lift my hands and worship and plead for God's mercy in my life. That's exactly why. Please fill me up. Please come into my life. Please be real. That's exactly it. And, I'm sure there's much more. It's not just what I did. Okay? Evidently, God lifted my head. I wrote a song. I'm ready to die. And maybe that's where God needs us. Maybe sometimes God needs us at a place that you're ready to die. And now God says, what? Now you may live. That old self, the old thoughts, has to go away. They serve you no more. That part has died. You don't think that way anymore. And in Jesus Christ, you're a new creation. The Bible is filled up with awesome inspiration of words joined together to form sentences and paragraphs and writings of people that were fall out in awe of God, and at times confused, and at times, do you think they were angry? God, why did you make me like this? But who am I to say I am the creation, you are the creator? Did you ever feel that way? Why am I made this way? Why am I having these challenges in my life and everybody's showing me people with other challenges I don't want, but yet they don't understand when they look at me that it's here that I have the challenges. You know what God told me? It might not be as physical as it is mental. My challenges in life, a lot of people, they can't see what I was enduring. I had my alcoholism that, as I say, some people saw it. More so or not, when the officer pulled me over, I kept it together, okay? Or did God keep it together for me? Leave this one go. Because there's many times I claimed it was like something else was driving my car through me when I would be drunk or stoned. And I would say, God, I am sorry. Please help me get home safely. I don't want to hurt anybody, and I want to live to see tomorrow. Please help me get home the safest way possible. How did my car get home? I think something loves me a lot. I think something loves you. I think something loves each and everybody, or we wouldn't be alive today. And chances are our best way of communication is directly inside of our head. And our focus has been way off in things that may have some matter, or they wouldn't exist. But the more important matter is directly communicating with us in our heads. And I've been thinking, maybe it's in a more heavenly, beautiful atmosphere, and we're not ready to be in that atmosphere at this time. What do you think? So it will communicate with us from a great distance, and it doesn't want to let us go. And it's part of the lifeline, the grooming, the baby steps to come closer. What do you think? Maybe I've been dreaming. I don't think so. Maybe I'm crazy? A little, but I don't think so. I wanted to show you that. I want to try out my new phone. I hope the camera works okay. I'm still working on my albums. This is my latest. Ragtop, Could Have It All, Blatantly Purple, and Dayton, Ohio, USA. I'm really excited. I made this in 2011 originally, and it's 2021. And I was really hoping that I could share life with other people. And I learned I have no idea how that can even be possible. And in that regard, I would say I am a psychopath. I have a very difficult time conforming to any relationship with somebody unless it be distant. It has to be distant. Up close and personal. Eek. Alright. I never expected to live this way. Do you know what I do? I'll show you quick. I go from this bed, okay, this way. After I usually get coffee in the kitchen, I'll turn on my computer first, and then I come over here, and I make a pot of coffee. I try to make 1 cup of coffee, not to drink too much. Ta-da! And the reason is, I need flavor, and it's a long day here at VCAT Productions. And then I'll come in here and mentally prepare by watching some YouTube videos. And I always hope, I hope something of content I'm okay with to watch is available. Just for a little bit of enjoyment, outside of just focusing only on Tracilyn Michael. I gotta be honest. I get sick of the commercial stuff. Commercial after commercial after commercial. You know? I always skip it. And I think, I wish more people on YouTube were like me in that area. I don't have commercials on mine. And I won't. Ever. Unless somebody truly makes it worth my while first. And then we'd have to talk about what promotions. I'm not into that. You know, I get people want to sell stuff. I want to live and have fun. You know, and what can I sell but myself? And that's really real. What can I sell but myself? We have music. Anybody want to buy some? I got albums for sale. I got songs for sale. Hey, I have pictures of myself. Huh? Can I sell some of that? Oh, hold on a minute. You're going to want to get between my legs, right? Maybe just for a few minutes. Is it going to be worth my while? Are you a cop? You trying to set me up for prostitution? Because guess what? I met a lot of people in and out of the Christian community who told me my life is not about me. And since I've been here, I realized different. I realized that it's all about God, but the God that I serve is in my brain. That's number one. And number two, it's all about me in the physical. Now, obviously, it goes into God. But when you have God, and I'm kind of like the top, God's finger inside my head, it all evolves around me. And because I have experience in doing entertainment, that's where I best fall in at. Entertainment. Why is that? Am I a joke? Is it my personality? What is it? It's not my talent, is it? I'm not really talented. All the talent comes from God. But I am a submissive bitch, ain't I? Yes, I am. I serve a great God, and I only praise and worship with my life a God that is for me, not against me. And therefore is compatible with the truth within my brain. That's the God that is for us. The truth inside of your brain, get familiar with it. And know that God is for the truth in your brain for you. And therefore don't let other people manipulate you like these, khaki pants guys who wanted you to go, Tracilyn, to go and play for free at the bar rooms. They wanted you to do what other bands who have been signed to major deals. Is it $25,000 deal? Ooh, well, that's big. Well, it is to people that are dirt-ass poor or not in tune to what they should be receiving. It works when we're ignorant. When we become aware and intelligent, I'm here to tell you, for the man who laughed at me in Derby, New York, I made $25,000 driving truck in only a couple years. Saving it. Not too many people do that, period. That's how I started my business and my musical endeavors. I was the $25,000 deal. And I paid for everything. And when you have a kid to take care of, and you have health insurance concerns for yourself and your kid, and you have a dog to take care of, and you have other obligations and responsibilities that you vowed to take care of and make good of, you don't go around doing shit for free. Not with an economy world here. That's ignorant. And one thing about whatever is out there in the world, they want you to believe that when you do music, you should do it for free. That's doing it for God. And God has told me, free? Tell them there's an economy world here. And my child is of royalty and should not be living by a dumpster. They shouldn't be homeless. Maybe they should be in a mansion on the hill. You think so? Maybe they should have Italian-made boots made by somebody who cares about the details of your exact size and shape and inflammation at times, because they understand you're being electrocuted, right? Which means that chances are your right side, the right foot, the right leg swells up some every now and then it'll shrink sometimes. Joyce Meyer says there is no they. No, there is a they. And they're playing mind games with everyone, and they want you to believe that things like dry tongue or maybe markings on your body is cancer and diabetes, and you have other issues that they wrote all of these medical terms for, describing, which is only one, which is somebody jolting you with electricity and killing you, and different gases that they inject into your body. They inject gases into people's bodies. Did you ever hear a shh? Is that radio frequency, or is that a gas going directly into your body and causing problems? The gases that God has in the world are out here in the world somewhere. But why are they being directly pushed into your body? They call it direct energy weapons because why? Because they pick a target out, a human, a life form, and they take however they gather up, maybe through magnet or something, the gases that are naturally here on the earth, and they form it together in a direct light of energy or line, a direct line, and they inject it into your body, which causes an illusion which is real to us because it transitions or detransitions or deforms us. Do you know what deform is? It's the opposite of formation. We're forms of God, forms of words. And that explains things like, this is what I looked like when I once thought these thoughts. When I was living around all these other people who claimed they loved me, until I started surrendering to other thoughts in my head, and that formed. And now I look hotter than the girls I used to jerk off over in magazines. Okay? Not to you. I never seen a girl in a magazine that looked like this. I didn't. I'm sure you did. Tell that guy out in Nevada, I want a paycheck to be in a magazine like that. Because the economy world's here. I could be making money. People could be making money with me. I never jerked off over Playboy with something like this. And by the way, that has a penis, which is even more impressive. Maybe not to you, to me. Because I was told a man should look this way or that way. You can be a smartass if you want. Does that look like a man to you? Your ego wants to find something and say yes. But if you were being intelligent and being kind and being compassionate, you would say, that looks hotter than any genetic girl I ever slept with. Exactly. Now, it's not about looks. And please forgive me for it sounding like that. But I am somebody who has gotten my ass kicked because people always told me it's not about what you look like. And I care. I took care of my dog the same way I take care of myself. I take care of the people I was with, like my man, or my fucking partner, or my freaking child. I take care if I had my car, okay? And I didn't have to live somewhere where they just bang the doors open onto it. Sit beer cans on top of it. Tell me to just park it out front and let corns fall from the tree and put dents all over it. You know what I'm talking about. We all experience things like that. When a person cares, they care. This is my life that God has given me. Why would I want to waste one day not loving who I am, what I look like, maybe in my eternal journey? If we just transition form to form to form, maybe an even human, stick with human. Maybe I was a dog in a past life. Maybe I was a wolf in the past life. Maybe I was a cow or a pig that was beaten by a farmer. Maybe I was a dog that was kicked over and over again until I died. If we're eternal existences. Maybe I was another person. And I'm coming out of the bullshit. And you witness me now, but not me in my brain, which is the formation of who I am. It formed. And I can reform in another human being. Or another animal. Maybe I'm not the body, but the body is a reflection of me inside that has formed in words. And maybe that's what the enemy through electricity is trying to break up. They try to break up the form inside of our brain of who we are and try to distort so we're confused and we don't know the truth as to who we are. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. But loving yourself and loving your neighbor may go together as one. And maybe the best way you can love your neighbor is to not talk to them. You know, I'm not saying I do that here. Maybe what's best for you, love your neighbor could be anybody. It could be your local city folk or local state folk or people in a different country. So you love them in days that you feel that, I wouldn't go near them. You simply don't go near them. That's how you love yourself. Okay, that might not sound necessarily clear and you might not understand what I just said. But in other words, you got to do what you feel is best for you in the moment. And what I've realized is right now what I have to do is go around my home with my fence and my rail to remember when I'm looking at the world around me, this is what is formed inside my brain at some point. This is me. The reflection, which changes, okay? Because I'm not one form. I am a transitional. We're transitionals. Meaning, it's not just transsexual male and female. I was just going from the thought of being male into the thought of being a female. And therefore I am transitioning psychologically from malehood, which was not real, but an idealism that has been taught to me or had been received as legit, to the possibilities that maybe I am female. And as I psychologically transition, so the outcome is what it is. And who says females have to talk? Hi. And who says they have to look a certain way? Maybe they look dorky. Maybe they burp. Are you a female and you burp? I have come to the place in my life where I'm looking at my fence, looking at my videos, listening to my music. I have, like here, I have my treadmill, and I'm very thankful I can have my treadmill in my home. That means the world to me. I would love to share with you things that I do love about my circumstances, okay? And that would be one of them. I really love my idea of healthy living, and I would like to be indulged in it more. Detailed circumstance that occurred, and it's either work on my music now or forever possibly hold my peace, because it could take me a long time to actually seat my heart, my brain's heart, into an area, nesting it, that I may live a life in balance. That's how serious circumstances are in a country that's supposed to be of freedom and equality and supportive of one another. We're like a big family. Bullshit. Family would be able to go and talk to somebody, an elder of the family, of America, and explain what's going on, and therefore what? Receive attention in the area and be able to seat themselves in a substantially safe environment that they could live a life in balance and serve God and worship. Not to ideas of others, but their self. When God has a hold of somebody, God has a hold of somebody. It's not up to another human being to judge that, unless, I guess, judgment must be there, must be present to a point. And in the process of doing it, I use this phone, and I use my speakers I got at Walmart. And I listen to my music, and watch my music videos, and look at my pictures. And I walk, and I jog, sometimes very little, because I've been over here on the chair. I've been waking up almost, not every day, almost every single day. Coffee, food, breakfast, dinner, wash dishes 2 or 3 times a day. Oh man, I'm so sick of that. You wash dishes? I'm glad that I can, and I'm glad I have my own dishes. But, and I could have different. But the truth of the matter is, I was only hoping to stay here temporarily until I could get a home. I thought while I was recording my music I could still look for a new home, that I could live possibly for the rest of my life. Because I already tried the self-employed stuff. Isn't going to work for me. Because why? Because to do what I want to do, I'm going to have to pay other people. And I find that ignorant, that I couldn't even connect with one person and we pick up the log together. So maybe not so ignorant. Maybe it's what's best. I refuse to pay people to play with me. Okay? In my opinion, I think, more so or not, the average musician is lazy. They're inconsiderate. They're not dependable or reliable. And they live more, and they have orgy with the sinful nature more than they do with the angelic. And therefore, I find a lot of musicians dishonorable of themselves, because they say they want to do something and they don't follow through with it. And then people who are very serious, I could die if I don't take care of it. My life depends on choices I make. I don't want to be making choices with people that definitely cannot put things in writing with penalties because they believe in themselves that they're going to honor it. That's number one. Number two, where am I getting this money to pay somebody anyway to play with me? But I have to work for it. Unless Donald Trump is going to give me money that I can pay musicians, huh? Is he? I need a rehearsal spot too. I know a lot of things I need. Transportation, going to have to transport everybody. I don't want to do something small. I don't want to be one of those tavern, bar room, trashy venue, 3, 4, 5-piece rock and roll band that destroy everything in a hotel room. By the way, my mother used to work at a hotel room. And so did I. And I don't like a grody, dirty, smelly hotel room left behind by rock and rollers who are disrespectful to other people, who have to live in the slop they leave behind. I'm not afraid to say it. What are you going to do? Huh? What are you going to do to me? There's laws here that protect me too. I like to speak freely. Del rock and roller is what I think of them, And I'm convinced the world is lost because we've been listening to the same music on the radio our whole entire life, and we think there's something wild, and we're nothing. We could never do that, and neither could my neighbor, and neither could my friends. And I went to school with you, and I heard you play guitar. You'd never be like Slash. I mean, let's face it, he's a knockout, right? And we saw how well groomed the Foo Fighters are, right? Jesus Christ, they are the standard. I'm not trying to be a smartass, but the truth of the matter is there's not one human being without dirt, filth, and sin in their life. If you were to go by the good book called the Holy Bible, we all fall short of the glory of God. Now, I'm okay temporarily anyway because I figured out, Joyce Myers, how to get away from being people's idea of life, and I got a little bit of money finally. Why do I have a little bit of money and not a lot of money? I'll tell you that in bands that have released multiple albums, many of them don't have a collection of songs or ability, potentiality, that is by the person who recorded all the songs, wrote all the songs, and will perform all the songs. And it's not about doing something catchy like the moonwalk, okay? God has always left me know it's about God. And it's very frustrating to me that I could only connect with people that instead of being on the surface of, man, I would love to have fun too, and I want to be more considerate of myself and others, okay, for many reasons. I want to do my music in venues that has a little bit different of a standard than, hey, everybody drink up and have a good time and let's get laid. Okay, leave the condoms at home. Oh, that's just really sweet. And tell somebody you love, hey, have fun at the bar tonight and go see that awesome band. Was it Lady Gaga? Was it Garth Brooks? Who was it that recently showed the world that, look, they can have the position they have in life, right? They've done all kinds of venues, big venues, small venues, and they can even play bar rooms. Could they do it for free too? Is that it? How could they do it for free? Were they ever in a position where they had absolutely nothing and all anybody ever wanted from them is just sex, and if they don't give them sex the way that the person wants it, their ass is out in the streets? I bet you some of them were. Yeah, I bet you one or two of them were. Maybe. Don't you get sick of hearing of the possessions that some of these people have when it comes to numbers? Have you ever asked yourself why? Doesn't that seem imbalanced? I'm not one to be jealous or bitter of other people, but what happened to me in 2012 basically showed me that there was a large group of people that were evidently trying to make an ass out of me while they were doing it to themselves. And in the event, during my strong time, I challenge any one of them to try to make an ass out of me again, to my face, and see that I don't lay you flat on the ground. That's not a threat. That's a guaranteed. That is disrespectful. It also showed me that the people in the music industry showed me faces of the people who are cowards. Because during your times of strength, they will wait to once they know you're going through your hardest of times. And then they will partake in an orgy of trying to get those people psychologically into a misfortune to where they even kill themselves. And they joke about it. I have declared I am not the father of rock and roll, and I am nobody else. I turned away because I am a person who loves myself and life differently than them. I was offered different things that I could have done musically. I didn't want to. And just so you know, if you're admiring somebody who shows you how to go into a bar room and that, see, if I can do it, you can do it, know this. Maybe you are not at the place in life where you, in your eternal journey, have been dealing with your personal relationship with God, which you take very seriously, and God takes your eternity very seriously, and God's laying it on your heart that atmosphere's, the days of entertaining there for you is over with. That you don't look out to a crowd and want to use your talent, your music, your entertainment abilities, your kindness, your personality, your name, your body, to get people that you know need better examples, period. Not me, people. They need people. Better examples. Instead of Hey, drink up. Have a good time. No, you're not drunk enough. Drink more. Yeah, do it. Lift up your shirts and let's see all of your clothing. Just give it away to free. Be free. Be free with yourself. Oh, go home with them. Hey, you, sleep with 6 of them at one time. Why not? Hey, we're free. Life is fun. Maybe God's touching somebody in a different way that says, I'm not going to condemn other people, but I don't want to be the one that's encouraging people to do that. In fact, I'm one of the people who would say over the microphone, you can dance with at the time, my partner, but if you cross the line, I'll break your fingers. Yeah, I'm that kind of person. And you could go and ask anybody and that I played in front of, okay? I believe in fun until I say no fun no more. In other words, it's my way. And my way is pretty flexible. My way is pretty open. You could ask anyone. However, you got to have some kind of morals and you got to have some kind of boundaries. That's part of your kingdom. That's part of your life. And maybe somebody's okay. Hey, you can dance with my wife. You can dance with my husband. But if you stick your tongue in their mouth or if you touch their ass, keep your hands up. In other words, if somebody's letting you do something, respect the fact that they said don't do that. Okay, I have reasons. How about we bring in the cop bit? And I realized that people at my shows were getting pulled over. Entrapment. And the best that I could do is say, I'm not going to add to that by not pulling over and screaming at the cop, because I was also pulled over after shows too. But nothing ever happened to me during those times. I was usually off the hook because they knew who I was. They saw the equipment. But the bottom line is, I had my reasons on top of that I didn't want to indulge. I knew I was worth more than those environments. It's not the people, it's not the owners, it's not any of it. It's a whole lot of things within it that God was showing me. And when you surrender to the truth, you will find out that you'll have more fun making music videos on what people would perceive as an empty stage, but you know you're not there alone. And God is teaching you that what? Give it to God. Stop doing things for people. That's what the lost do. And the lost try to be examples for other people's in ways they're lost at. They're lost in. Imagine that. Hey, Garth Brooks, you hit it big times, didn't you? You're selling out arenas. And now you're showing us that you can play in bars and you raise a toast. Drink up, man, and let's have a good time. And by the way, somebody is there that loves them. There's a whole lot of somebodies there that somebody loves. And you might be okay with it, but maybe somebody else is at a different psychological place and takes that as ignorance. In other words, Garth Brooks is ignorant. This is how the greats do it. The people that we admire on television and on the radio. And Tracilyn is walking up in the mountains, pleading with God, and showing you that's how somebody great does it. I was a couch potato because I became couch-ridden, because I became extremely depressed, because I became extremely lonely, because I became extremely excluded, because I would not indulge myself in a majority of what a lot of others that I loved were indulging themselves with. And I couldn't find somebody that I really wanted to share my life with. And you know what ended up happening? Is that somebody became, right here, me. And me, as I was going through things, and I reached out and I tried to share with people, especially my willingness. It didn't have to just be music. It could be, I can do many different things. I mean, I don't know where to begin the conversation, but I did know that I need some form of finances to be able to take care of myself. I can't keep going on letting people suck a body part so I can stay alive. Just staying alive is miserable. And I can't be self-employed. And the biggest reason is because I can't expand on what I desire to do if I have to pay people. Most people are not honorable when they say they want to do something. I'm not saying I am the example, but that puts my life on the line. For instance, if there's 5 or 10 musicians or singers, dancers, sound crew, and they say they want to do it, I can't go by their word. It has to be in writing, and just because it's in writing doesn't mean they're going to be honorable. God showed me when I was self-employed, most people are not honorable. Most. Some are. Some are, well, that's just business. No, this is life, and I don't want to keep going through this stuff. I realize that if most people would have listened to me, I'd already have a house, maybe several of them. They would too. They'd be very well-to-do. During the hardest times in the economy, like with the mask, the government would have heard our mouths say what? Ain't wearing no mask. Not at our shows. You don't have to. Because why? The virus isn't real. Because it's a large group of something that is contaminating and killing everybody. And people are too scared to wake up and acknowledge it and say it. That virus all of a sudden came in like, what, AIDS came in through the monkeys? Is that where we all came from? We're from the fucking monkeys? I'm a believer. Daydream believer. Sense of humor. It's wake up time. Snap out of it. Stop protecting yourself so much that the reality is not setting in that we are targeted and we are being killed. That's why the wall was built. I'm surprised people didn't go out there with bulldozers and start knocking down the wall that was built in Mexico. Do you really think it's to keep them from coming over here? Si, senor, senorita, we come to America and we're going to invade the place with what? Well, we work. I know you work. We work for cheap. I know. See, Mexicans work for cheap. Most people know that. They're hard workers. Most people who know Mexicans know that Mexicans are hard workers and they usually work for cheap. That's why a lot of people hire them, contractors. Did you ever think maybe it's so Americans don't run away to Mexico? Or do you ever think that it's because people who have technology, radio frequency, are stealing human beings and leading them into places like Mexico? Sex slavery and stuff. Sadism. Abusive. Slaughtering people. Maybe eating people and stuff, Forcing them into all kinds of dramatics. Not necessarily in Mexico. I'm not saying that. But in general. When I was out in Las Vegas, somebody approached me, but they stayed a distant because why? There's cameras around. And they didn't approach me once. They approached me in Caesar's Palace, and then they approached me later on down the line on the other side of the Statue of Liberty, whatever that is. They approached me down there too, from a distance. And I also had somebody say to me while I was in Las Vegas, who appeared to be maybe Russian, you think Russia's striking us? And they have people stationed throughout the United States and they're ready to attack? You think I'm crazy? As they told me, why don't you just leave the country? And why would they want me to leave the country? For starters, they don't like Christians. It's because Christians lead people to God. And what is God? But every word that's inside your brain and all over the place. Which means if you look at words in their entirety as God, and you're familiar with the truth in your brain, and you know that the loving God portion is always for you, 100% loves you, will not hurt you in a way that man would hurt you, abusing you, both psychologically and physically, then you would pay attention not anymore to the physical, but to God in every word, in every sentence. And you would start to appear to be what most people would call you as selfish, self-centered. All you care about yourself, that's it. And that's when changes start to occur. Now all of a sudden, there's nobody, period, that ever knew you. Nobody that ever knew me in my life. If I would have just came to Ohio voluntarily and began to transition and do what's in my heart, change my name, everybody else would have thought I disappeared forever or I died or was kidnapped or something. But I could walk up to anybody I once knew and stand side by side, waiting at a grocery store or at Walmart, and nobody would recognize me. Not even my mother, not my sister, not my brother. Nobody. Not anybody I ever dated. And guess what? A lot of my transition was not physical. Most of it was psychological. It might not be impressive to you. This scar, you see my scar here? Yeah, is that not impressive to you? This scar here from I had one surgery right here. You think that's not, is that Tracilyn, I think you're ugly. Is that it? Maybe, but, I jerked off to myself more than I ever jerked off to a magazine from Playboy. from any model. I jerked off watching myself, looking at myself. And what did God say? It is a sin for you to do that with anyone else but you. You see, if you can't admire yourself in such a manner that you are content, I'm not saying you have to jerk off, then something's not right with you. If you have to look to somebody else. If you have to look to somebody else to jerk off, then chances are you don't have it right. One last thing I wanted to clean up here with is before that gentleman had died. We did a video, and at some point I ended up communicating with him through the messenger, and I don't know for sure if it was him or not because it was through the messenger. Don't believe that everybody you're talking to on social media is that person, because they also, the people, the life forms, they don't just hijack your brain, they hijack your social media, and they want you to believe, they impersonate other people. And why? To wreck your relationships. That's exactly why. Because they try to disconnect you from everyone. So I'm sure that's how a lot of people ended up on milk cartons, gone missing. Anyway, whether it was him or not him, he came across as extremely perverse to me. And I remember thinking to myself, I am sick of people who cannot control their self in my presence. I might not be the best looking person in the world, but I've been going through this throughout my whole life. Something in the universe, through humans, evidently always wants to sleep with me. Have you felt that way? And I am sick of it. No, you can't sleep with me. No sex. They mentally try to tire you down. My mom went through this too. Probably a lot of people, especially by the time you're in your 40s, you start to realize, everywhere I go, everybody wants to sleep with me. Why is that? I'll tell you why. Because they will keep disturbing you. Their whole point is to evidently withdraw you from the human race. Because if you keep being disturbed, that's all people want me for, nothing else, there's a good chance you're going to say adios to a lot of humans. Goodbye. Gotta go. I'm sick of you. And anyway, I wasn't necessarily sick of him, but I was sick of that in relationship with other people, to the point that if you are somebody who's thinking about communicating with me, then think of it as communicating with somebody that you love and respect and would never have sex with. Because I don't want to have sex with you, whoever you are. And don't tell me, oh, no, you do me. No, I don't. In fact, stay away from me. If you can't be around beautiful people, psychologically, kind people, if you can't handle that without, oh, I want to have sex with you, and you're coming across really gross and stuff, to me, stay away from me. Because I could turn into Bruce Lee and kick you in the forehead. It's called respect. Don't let the evil empire enter into your brain and use you. Root them out. Get familiar with Christ-likeness and love and respect for other humans. Don't look to violate them all the time. And, well, to some people, that's not violation. No, it really is if they understood. Nobody wants to keep crossing paths with people that's all they want. Oh, wow, I should just keep giving myself to people, and I should listen to Joyce Myers and not be selfish with my body and my life, and I should not worry about money and do it for free. Do you know why a lot of good-looking people and kind people turn into adult entertainers? Because they're sick of giving themselves away for free, and they can't seem to get work, legitly, other ways, that says respectful in salary and in labor combination, and health benefits with vacation leave, holiday pay, all kinds of bonuses and perks. Because why? Because employers will look down on good-looking people. Oh, this job wouldn't be for you. Why? Because I'm insecure with myself and I'm evil and I'm bitter. Because I didn't make it right with God. And besides, you shouldn't be working for anyone anyway. You should be pampered and taken very good care of. Say it. Because that's the kind of person you are. I could tell when you walked in here and you flew in your hair up and you said, hi, how are you? I'm here to employ for work. I'm not laughing at this. That's the way it happened. And unfortunately, he ended up dead. Okay? A small time frame after. What did I do? When I saw the message, I looked up. I said, God. In other words, I wish things would not be like that. It was probably something along the lines of somebody else thinking that I would fuck them in the ass. Because why? Because I'm a transsexual? Okay, a lot of people, the one thing at one point I wanted to make across in my life is because a human being has a penis and looks very close in resemblance to that of a genetic girl, does not mean that they're freaks, that they're retarded in some way psychologically, and that they will fuck anything that moves. In other words, just because you watch she-male movies, okay, they're different than transsexual females too, by the way. A lot of she-males either take mild dosages of estrogen or none. They do things through surgery. Most, not every. Transsexual females, a lot of them go through the entire transition, or they take such dosages of testosterone blocker and estrogen increase so they can reap all the wonderfuls that go along with that, and therefore they do not function a lot of times the exact same way as a she-male. In other words, they don't ejaculate big loads of cum in most situations, okay? Where she-males do, most of them. And that's what sells for them. And the whole screwing in the ass for some of them, okay? Their tops and stuff are dumb at. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, okay? Maybe I would have dated a she-male at some time in my life. Maybe years from now I will. I'm not prejudiced against it. Especially a top. Wow. Not now. Somebody kind of loving. Here's the thing, check this out. Faithful and true to one. Here's the thing, check this out. But one point that I wanted to make across is, number one, I didn't have somebody like me throughout my life that I was aware of that could be some kind of role model. As it took me until I was in my 30s before I met one person that I was like, I knew for sure they were trans, okay? They were like I was coming to be, similar. We're basically similar pathways. And let me know that you can pretty much function like others. Okay? Maybe better. And here's the thing. One point that I wanted to get across to the entire human race, especially here in America, is just because a chick has a dick doesn't mean she wants to fuck somebody in the ass. Some people don't even think like that. Maybe once in a blue moon I might see somebody with a sweet ass and I'm like, sometimes I wonder if I wouldn't be a switch. Okay? Sometimes. Because I'm human too. But more so or not, no. And by the way, if I was, I'd have to be extremely attracted to you. With that being said, when something like that occurs in my conversation, I feel like I'm kind of being disrespected. And I don't feel that it's me personally. I feel that that's just that person's way of life. And it's kind of grody to me. All I can say is when I saw that, I had disgust. And I never want anything bad to happen to anyone. But it sucks when you want to be connected to the human race. And a lot of times you will accept even what the rest of the world perceives as less acceptable. And you will accept them if they're be kind and respectful to you. But more so or not, then when it turns around and it turns into something like that, it makes you sick in the stomach, and I tell you the truth. It's like, if you knew me, you would know through my life I would never, ever have sex with somebody in that manner like you. Please leave sex out of it. That alone, just the subject, tires me out. I could have sex all day long around the clock. Trust that I already know that. And even if I was 95, you tell me it will go away with age. I don't believe that. Because something likes me a lot, and it doesn't care about age, and it doesn't care about the body. According to Mr. Khaki Pants downtown, it's attracted to the mind. Whatever it is. Evidently, life forms, or people, something. The computer, and guess what? For some reason, it likes to engage its senses with you, so it will use other people to engage in like sexual intimacy encounters, where you're using your senses like smell, taste, your other body parts and stuff, and what? It psychologically gets the sensations, and you're doing something together psychologically. It's not about the physical. So with that being said, but physical occurs, and that would mean interaction with other bodies in order to get the psychological going, okay? It might not look like that, but I'm trying to emphasize a little bit. There's mental things going on, okay? So it doesn't care about age, and it doesn't care necessarily about looks at all, okay, in my opinion. And this has been going on throughout my whole life, and it's really become acknowledged as it's not just other humans. There's something else that really is attracted to me, and I'm convinced in my own way it's not because it wants to have physical sex with me. It has something to do with... Seems weird, right? Not weird. To me, it makes perfectly good sense. It's not just me. I'm pretty certain that people I love, it explains a lot of things, even my own mother. I'm pretty certain that my family members and people I've met, it explains a lot. there is something that becomes very attracted to our minds and therefore kind of takes possession. And if we're in a relationship with somebody, it will, and it is able to go inside their body to have a relationship with us. Okay, so it seems weird. We're coming into knowledge maybe, that there's more going on. And here's the thing, check this out. I'm not such a psychopath. I was on the phone, right here, this phone, with somebody from Papa John's, that I am not going to mention any name. It brought back memories of, I forgot why we were not talking so much. And when I went there to the open mic, I was broken, I was wounded, I was committed, and I did say I would be committed dominantly while I was living in Humber Heights with the someone that was there and helping me. I was not looking for a boyfriend or for somebody to engage in sex with. And I don't believe being affection hugs and even kisses on the cheek and stuff is necessarily anything to do with sex. I have different boundaries maybe than some people. So with that being said, we're learning each other's boundaries, and as I went out, similar things happened when I ended up meeting people like at songwriter nights. And there was one specifically that ended up, like when they talk, it ended up being like the most filthiest stuff that ever came out of a person's mouth. And I'm thinking to myself, I understand why you're single. I don't know why I'm going through the things I am, except for I feel like I'm in a mental ward where all anybody ever thinks about is grody sex and grotesque manners. I don't think I'm your ideal person. Not that person or whatever's in it. It's not everybody that was there. It happened. And with that being said, I didn't feel violated enough that I would never go back. Of course I did. But evidently I must have kind of disconnected the conversation, or I just don't feed into it. And if they contacted me, maybe I didn't speak to them or whatever, and I just kind of let it drift away. Well, in my searching every once in a while, I tend to forget because I forgive very easily, believe it or not. And I was here, and I was talking to the person on the phone, and one of the first things that ended up coming out when we spoke was what I perceived as extremely over-the-top filthy. And it's coming from an escort, an adult entertainer who loves to role play. And with that being said, it could be because I'm sick of hearing stuff like that, maybe. If this were to be a potential client, I would have hung up on him. He would not have come to see me, okay? Because I had somewhat standard. And you don't talk to me like that. That already tells me I'm not for you. Go see someone else. And with that being said, I remember when I hung up the phone and I said, God, I don't know if I have that kind of effect on the people, or if people are that lonely and they become desperate and they forget how to be mature and talk to people. We live in a society that says it's best to keep God out of everything. The Bible's for control. And I'm convinced that the enemy has polluted people's minds with bull. The Bible is not to manipulate your mind. It's that you may have a more wholesome life and healthier relationship with your Creator. It's not to scold you like people think in a manner that says life is no more fun. It's to bring you into the fulfillment and helping you to get through this life with a cheerful, to maximize your fullest potential at having a fulfilling and beautiful life. And honoring yourself and honoring God, most importantly. I have realized that when listening to Joyce, I was going against my heart. I wanted to figure out how I could take care of my self-government